Our top story at this hour is from India. New Delhi has officially announced that the country's External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar will fly to Russia on a key diplomatic visit beginning on Christmas Day, that is on December the 25th. The 5-day visit is part of an ongoing high-level exchanges between Russia and India. It will include engagements in Moscow and St Petersburg. The Indian minister will meet Russia's Deputy Prime Minister along with his counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Additionally, Jaishankar will also meet Russia's Minister of Industry and Trade. Discussions will include bilateral, multilateral and international issues. Economic cooperation, people-to-people engagement and cultural ties will also be in focus. This marks the second time when the annual India-Russia Leaders Summit will not take place. It is the highest institutional dialogue mechanism between the two sides. Over 21 such summits have been held so far between India and Russia. It was last held in the year 2021, the year both the countries elevated their bilateral cooperation with the beginning of 2+2 dialogue. The last time Jaishankar visited Russia was in November last year. Ties between India and Russia have been growing closer and are marked by the spirit of special and privileged strategic partnership. New Delhi and Moscow are both members of major international groupings including BRICS, G20 and Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Our principal diplomatic correspondent Sidhan Sibol is now joining us live for more on this. He is live in New Delhi. Sidhan Sibol, good to see you. What more do we know about this visit?
Well, Eric, this is a key visit of the Indian External Affairs Minister. The last visit to Russia by the EM was in November of 2022. That is last year. And we know this is a relationship which is time-tested and relationship has seen a lot of momentum, especially in the energy sphere. We have seen India increasing its energy import. But there are certain concerns for New Delhi in terms of the increasing trade deficit. But that aside, if we talk about the upcoming visit, the EM travels to both Moscow and St Petersburg. He meets with the Trade Minister Denis Montrov and the Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Now, remember that Russia will be the chair of the BRICS grouping from next year, and that is why this visit is important. Both countries are members of the BRICS grouping, and we know that when it comes to the BRICS summit, that will happen in Kazan in next year, where the Indian Prime Minister is expected to travel. But all in all, both countries have been sharing a lot of consultation in terms of how they work together at the UNSC, where the Russians have come in support of India several times in terms of how India has been wanting to, especially when it comes to Pakistanis trying to do some kind of things which are, of course, anti-India. But all in all, a significant visit, a visit whose outcome will be eagerly awaited.
Sidhan Sibol, this visit comes amid a war between Russia and Ukraine. What do you think the international community will translate this visit as?
Well, yes, of course, the West will be closely observing this visit. Now, we know the Indian stance on the conflict. The Indian Prime Minister during the SCO summit in Samarkand last year told the Russian President Vladimir Putin that this is not an era of war. And since then, we have seen several Western leaders, including the French President Macron, mentioning this statement. And India has emphasized on dialogue and diplomacy, even as, of course, India has increased its import of Russian energy, which, of course, saw the Western side not very comfortable with. There was a lot of pressure on New Delhi, but India was able to bear with that pressure and tell the West that India will take decisions which are in its interest. And while the West might be closely watching this visit, remember that External Affairs Minister has been to many Western countries this year, including his visit to UK in the month of November, his visit to Washington, of course. So essentially, the West can't say that this visit cannot happen. It's in India's self-interest, and India is going to do anything and everything that is in its interest. And its relationship with Russia, the strong relationship with Russia, predates a strong relationship with West.
All right, I've been talking to our principal diplomatic correspondent, Sidhant Sibol, live in New Delhi. Thank you, Sidhant. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.